Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today I want to talk about two shows that I just watched on Paramount Plus, which is Halo and The Offer. These were two shows that I didn't really think I was going to like, shows that I just kind of put in the back of the list to watch, and surprisingly, they weren't that bad. To start off, we'll go with Halo, and I have to say with this show, it was a bumpy ride with mixed feelings. At the beginning of the show, it felt like a fan film, like the entire beginning section of this show, with that first episode, first 15 minutes, just felt fan made. Now, I read somewhere that a lot of money was put into this show, and it was just kind of wonky to see in the beginning, first 15 minutes, it was very just low grade graphics. The way that the Spartans land in on the planet they're at just felt very strange. I felt like I've seen that before in fan films on YouTube, and it was just really odd. After the beginning of the episode, they cut to the planet Reach in the show, and the city looked really good. It looked like really good graphics. So I was just confused. It's like they did really good graphics for that scene, and then, they get to a different scene and like, oh, we ran out of budget for the show, so I guess we're just gonna have to do some low quality graphics for a scene here and there. And that wasn't the only time that the graphics were bad. There was a scene, I think maybe episode 4 or 5, where Master Chief takes the Doctor to this planet, and it's his home planet. He's having memories now, and they're in this woods, this forest area, and it looks like someone shot it on their iPhone. iPhone graphics aren't that bad nowadays, but still, compared to high grade cameras recording a show and all of these high tech graphics you can do, it just seemed very low grade, and it was just weird to see. But aside for the complaints for the graphics, the show wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't know the story of Halo too much. I know this show is not supposed to be the exact story from the video games. It was supposed to be just based off of the games. So I guess I'm not supposed to think this is before or after or in between the Halo games. And I guess because I wasn't so involved with Halo growing up, I played the games, but I wasn't really invested in the story. It doesn't bother me as much. If it's like the Lord of the Rings show coming out in September, I think I'd be a little more concerned of how the story goes. But there were some slow patches. The first couple episodes were slow to get through, but once the story started picking up and the story with Master Chief started going, it actually wasn't that bad. I'm probably going to give it like a solid 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't terrible. There are some scenes that I probably could have done without, but other than that, the show was actually pretty good, exciting, action-packed. There's a great story to go along with it, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen for season 2. Now, I apologize if you haven't seen this show already. I'm going to talk about a huge spoiler at the end of the show, so plug your ears. But for all the Halo fans, we all know who Cortana is. And at the end of the season, Master Chief gives up his life so that Cortana can take over his body and defeat the Covenant army coming at them without human reactions and human feelings. More of an artificial intelligence reaction to what's going on and a more intelligent way of fighting. But because of that, Master Chief looks like he's dead. Again, I don't know the story from the Halo games. I don't know if that actually happened. I think I'm going to have to research and watch some gameplay for the stories of Halo, because if Master Chief is still dead, that means Cortana is now in Master Chief's body, and it seems that Season 2, it might just be Cortana. I don't know if Master Chief's mind is going to come back, but I guess we'll see. In that last episode, there was a lot of cool battle scenes, and they cut to a first-person shooter point of view while fighting, which was really cool. Kind of felt like the game, and it was a really good show, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Now on to the second show that I watched on Paramount Plus, which is called The Offer. This show is based off of the writers and the people who created the Godfather movie, the first Godfather, and it shows what they had to go through and what they had to do to be able to create this movie. What an awesome show. Probably like an 8.5 out of 10 for me, maybe even a 9. It was such a good show. I was not expecting to enjoy it this much. I'm not sure how true all of these events that happened in the show are. I know the person who created, the producer of the Godfather movie, is the one who told this story, and that's what they're basing this show off of, which is his stories. I'm not sure how true all of them are. I'm sure a lot of it is embellished and maybe some fake stories here and there. But if a lot of them are true, then it was a wild ride trying to make the Godfather movie. In this show, it tells a story of how the biggest roadblock for them to be able to make this movie was the mafia within New York and the mafia within the United States. The mafia did not want them to make this movie because they thought it was going to shine a bad light on the Italian Americans. And one person in the entire show that was really out for blood was Frank Sinatra. I don't know how true this was. I know there are whispers through history that Frank Sinatra was involved with the mafia, but he was trying to do whatever he could because he didn't want to have his name smudged in this movie. The character of the Godfather, if you know, Johnny Fontaine, he is supposed to be like the representation of Frank Sinatra, or so that's what Frank Sinatra thought. But everyone kept telling him, this is not who you're supposed to be. We're not portraying a bad light for you. And he didn't believe it. Because of this, the mafia in New York reached out to the producer of the Godfather movie and did not want him to make the movie. So then the producer became friends with one of the heads of the family within the mafia and said, you can read the entire script. We can take out whatever you want us to take out. You know, if you want us to take out the word mafia, we'll take it out. So I think the word mafia was actually used once in the Godfather movie, and they took it out. I'm not sure that's true or not. I don't remember hearing the word mafia within the Godfather movie. I actually just watched the first two movies after watching the show, and I didn't hear it. So if that's true, that's interesting. But apart from the mafia's affiliation with the movie, it was just a lot of road bumps here and there, a lot of facts I didn't know if they are true or not. Like the scene within the Godfather movie 1 where the movie producer finds the horse head in his bed. Well, in the show, they had a prop horse head, and then they ended up getting a real horse head. I don't know if that's true. If it is true, that is absolutely wild. And it just changes the whole scene for me when I watch it. Another fun part was seeing all of the actors they got to play the actors from The Godfather, and they actually did a really good job. The person who played Al Pacino was spot on. The way he held himself, the way he opened his eyes really wide for some scenes, the way he talked, it was perfect. The person they got to play Marlon Brando, I think he is one of the actors from the Grey's Anatomy show. He did a great job in playing Marlon Brando, doing the voice, everything. And there was just so much in this show to unpack. I could spend easily 2 hours just going on about this show. There are so many small details that I can't even think of because I'm just so hyped that this show was just so good. If you are a Godfather fan, I really encourage you to go watch it. I'm sure you'll love it. It's a fantastic show. And it's definitely one of those shows that I'm glad it's a one-season show. Obviously, with shows like this that you like a lot, you always have that need for like another season. But because it wasn't that kind of show where it needs another season, obviously they made a Godfather 2 and 3. I don't need another season of a show to show me what happened with those. It was great for a one-off season, and I am definitely going to be watching it over and over again. But that is it for the 2 seasons of shows that I've watched recently. Again, I'm continuing to watch Blackbird and Westworld. Real quick spoiler warning. The most recent episode of Blackbird really got me. It was really dark and really creepy. For those who are watching the episodes of Blackbird Weekly, the episode where Taron Egerton is in the workshop talking to Larry, and Larry is confessing this murder that he did, and this heinous crime really creeped me out. It was super dark, and it really got me. It was great acting to both actors. I'll give it to the guy who's playing Larry. He is doing a great job in making you hate him and wanting him to be found guilty and just everything. He's doing the part of playing that psychopath perfectly. And Taron Egerton is doing a perfect job in receiving that and that response to the story he's telling of how he committed the crime, and the way his facial expressions are moving when he's hearing the story, and the way his eyes are getting a little watery. It makes you get that emotion as well. You're just like, oh my gosh, this dude is nuts. Why is he not caught yet? Now, while recording this, that is when the episode 5 just came out. It just came out this past Friday. But now while you're listening to this, episode 6 probably just came out, and I'm probably either recording my response for it or planning to record my response to episode 6. I don't know the story of this. Apparently it's based off of a true story. I hope that Larry gets caught and that Taron Egerton is able to be relieved from the prison, and hopefully everything gets sorted out. But what a wild story. But that is it for today's episode. I thank you for coming in and listening. I will catch you guys on the next one. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next Finkle Cast.